Okay then, let's have a look at question 2. As you can see from it, you're going to hear an excerpt of music which is going to be played 4 times, which would already suggest that there are going to be a lot more sub-questions related to this. The first thing you'll see is that you've got a rhythmic interpretation, a rhythmic score of the opening 7 bars. They've marked for you where certain things related to the questions are going to happen. So say for example here in bars 1 and 2, that's going to be related to dynamics or the volume of the music. And from bars 3 to midpoint or just past midway in bar 6, that's going to be asking you about the melodic movement. So, question 2a is asking you to give a suitable Italian term to describe the dynamics, the volume of the chords that you hear in bars 1 and in bar 2. So what you'll hear here and also at this point as well. Okay, so it's asking you about the volume but Italian terms. So you've got fortissimo, very loud, forte, loud, mezzo forte, moderately loud, mezzo piano, moderately soft, piano, soft, pianissimo, very soft. Question 2b is asking you which one of the following terms here best describes the melodic movement in bars 3 to 6. The 2 means that it's going as far as beat 2 of bar 6. So the melodic movement in this section. The choices you have are chromatic, pentatonic, scalic, or triadic. If the melodic movement was chromatic, it would sound as if it's moving from white note to black note, and then white note again. It'd be using all the notes of the chromatic scale. If the music was pentatonic, it would have a sort of folk music quality to it, or even an oriental type of quality to it, because it would be using a 5-note scale. If the music was scalic, it would be either a major or a minor scale. If the music was triadic, it would be using movement which is almost like a chord, using the root, third, fifth. Arpeggio-based movement would be another way to think about it. You also need to name the instruments which play the opening melody. Again, notice that we're talking about the melody here. We're not talking about the instruments which play the chords. It's very easy to get confused and think opening melody and think opening as being the first thing you hear, the opening of the piece. Try not to make that mistake. For question 2d, you need to describe 2 features of the music from bar 7, so that's onwards from the extract that you hear. You need to be referring to melody and or rhythm. So rhythm or melody. So I would suggest here you make 2 points related to rhythm and 2 points here related to melody. Let's hear the extract. Okay. So, the 2 chords that you heard at the start, here and here, had quite a strong impact to them. So I would suggest it would be safe to say that those chords were loud. You would be able to use either forte or fortissimo as a term. Either would have been accepted for this question. The melodic movement after the 2 chords was triadic. The instruments which played the opening of the melody were string instruments, but they weren't particularly high in pitch. They were low in pitch, but not grumbling away like double bass. So you would need to write here cellos, or violoncellos. Either would have been acceptable. As for 2D, to describe two features referring to either rhythm and or melody, it's probably best to look at what the examiner's report has said here. Any of the following would have been acceptable. The melody starts on a long note or a tied note. The first note of the melody is repeated. There is a rising then falling phrases to link. There's quaver movement in the violin, so that's talking about rhythm. There is a minim crotchet rhythm, used once. The melody moves stepwise, scalic, and it's conjunct at first. Either of those terms would have been fine. And there's shorter note values. Not to say the rhythm becomes faster. It doesn't. The tempo stays the same. Let's hear the music again.
Here is the excerpt for the second time.
So, forte chords. Triadic arpeggio movement played by cellos.